All right. Hey, welcome to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. I've got another training game that I went through a couple nights ago that I would like to share with you guys just to show you some ideas that I find are working for me at this point. And let's get started. I'm playing the black and Stockfish is playing the white. I'm going to once again do a King's Indian, a modified King's Indian without the push C4. I'm going to do it this way. Now, it was because of the way he opened. This particular opening is kind of an odd opening. And so I want to hit this square. I want to control that square. So let's see if I do it. He brings that up. Hey, look at that. Put my pawn right on the square. How simple can that be? Fun stuff. So this is really kind of an odd opening. And now he's blazing forward with the H pawn. And I'm going to pin the knight to the queen. He brings his queen out immediately. Coming to here, going to nab my rook. I'm thinking, well, technically, I don't need to let him do that. So slide my bishop over. It's a two-purpose move. Protect the pawn. Keep in contact with the knight. The knight's beautifully safe. This knight is in the way of this pawn advancing to attack the bishop. So this isn't bad. I've got the center okay at this point. So let's see. Yeah, he castled. I've already castled. Now it's time. And I know I put the knight right in front of my cotton-picking queen so that I don't protect my bishop anymore, even though that's not true. He's not under attack. Anyway, I'm not fearing anything like this. That's honestly not a fear. So now he's pushing the A pawn. So many pawn pushes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawn pushes. That's a lot of pawn pushes. Still a bit undeveloped. I'm fully developed with my minor pieces, so it's time to bring in my heavy pieces, right? That's how you're supposed to do it. But I don't want him to get any more on the queen side. My pawns are pointing this way, so that's probably the area that I am going to play in, if I can at all help it. See if I can draw this lovely square. That's the side I'm going to play in, because that's the side my pawns are pointing to. So for him to go here, I thought, why give him any chance of counterplay? There's no reason. I don't have to give him a chance to have any counterplay. So why not prevent it, right? He's going to hit my bishop. I can come back to here, force an exchange, but I lose the G pawn, which opens up the file in front of my king, my castle king. I don't know if I like that very much. I've got ideas of this. Put it on the pawn chain. Hit the knight. Might be kind of fun. Also hit this pawn here, but it does open up for the rook. So you got to watch that. So rather than go all the way back, and rather than move at all, I do the very important, very famous E5 push. Hitting the D. Not that I want to exchange it necessarily, but that's a really important push for space. I can bring my rook over, bring my knight out, bump this little guy up one. My knight can go here to the h7 and proceed forward on the king side if I want. I'm not worried about the bishop being lost because I normally exchange it anyway, right? This square, white owns that square at this point, covered three ways. But I can replace the bishop with this knight, and then I can follow up with this knight here once this knight replaces the bishop, just in case his knight takes me. So I maintain the pretty good kingside presence. At least that's what I'm thinking while I'm playing. And then he pushes the F. How could he do such an insolent move? So that might be interesting. Countering. Swap bishops. If I took, I would think if I took here, he would want to take with the knight, hitting my E. Possibly coming into here. He'll eventually get a bishop out this way. He's supposed to be playing on the queen side over here, though, right? On this queen side. That's one reason why I wanted to push this pawn, just to, in case his queen comes back and he starts throwing pawns my direction. Landing on that square is important. I would much rather land on it myself, but that's supposed to be his theme, and he's coming over here on the king side. So what do you do in this regard? This is passive. I don't know if I like that. These pawns are blocked, so I have no way to do any kind of a attack or a hit on the queen at this point. This square is covered, so I can't pull my knight up here to do a beautiful knight fork on the the queen and the bishop. Oh man, gadzooks. I'm getting used to this electronic stuff. So I did c5, and now he's my bishop. So I come back and I think I will exchange the bishop. One, this is his bad square bishop. He hasn't even developed it yet. But when it's bad, it's really, really bad. So, and my bishop is the white squared bishop that's bad. So why not come down here and trade off the bad bishop? And he doesn't. So I am stuck with my bad bishop. So push the pawn chain. Rather than take on the D, look at that fantastic pawn chain. And this, of course, splits the board in half, putting good pressure on his king side. It does give me much better space to maneuver my pieces on the king side. I could easily see me doing this with the knight. My bishop's going this way. This knight can replace this knight. My queen can jump in here. I can press this pawn forward like crazy and get the rook coming up. Everything's pointing to the king side. So how do I develop this attack? I begin here. Let's see what happens. He closes it. Now this is incredible. What this does, he's almost, well, not almost, he's shooting himself in the foot here. Because had he taken, and had I taken, I would have had an isolated pawn here, which could have been an absolutely fantastic target for him, right? I mean, bishop back here and hitting that isolated pawn with that. A weakness directly in the middle. This completely closes his rook down, though. So I don't honestly think that move was worth diddly spit to him. I went ahead and moved I moved my rook over. He moved his rook up. The reason I moved my rook over is because of this maneuver I've seen from international master Bonze, Alex Bonze. He said, just park your knight on f8. Park and chill for a minute, because once you start throwing up your pawns, then you've got this fantastic redeployment, and you're going to have two knights, a bishop, another bishop, a rook, and a queen, all on the king side attack. So yes, this rook also does not have an open file, but it's going to. That's not it. Move it simply to deploy my forces better, because the pawn chain, oh, come on. Why does that do that? Is locked. Sorry. The pawn chain is locked. So I went ahead, locked it up, or advanced. He locked it up, moved my rook. He bumped his rook up, and I went to knight. Now he's going to bump his other rook up. That's about the only place he can go. So again, I'm going to pursue his bishop. It's not going to bother me if he doesn't change my bishop. If, for instance, if he decides to take me with the knight, that's all good. I will be happy to re-exchange with the knight. And if he comes after me with his bishop, then that'll bring my queen into this. And then all kinds of fun games can begin. Bishop d1, he goes back so that he can be covered by the queen, perhaps. I don't know. I'm going to hopefully try to open up the h-file. We'll see. He bumps his rook back. Again, a few random moves, and now I've decided, you know what? I can't quite see how to get completely in here at this point. And then he did this for me. I was just getting ready to start bombarding with pawns, because I've got them backed up. I may as well take all sides. King side, queen side. I mean, I've seen Jeremy Silman do this before, right? So that was kind of my thought. And then he did what he did. Now he's going to, I'm going to go ahead and press the pawn. No escape for the king, right? I'm going to cover the escape square. My queen's coming in. My knight is going to come in, right? So he brings his rook back, and here comes the queen. Here comes the bishop, and I figured that's what you would do. Take the pawn. Now this is checkmate. Next move, checkmate. Easy peasy. It's here that he put that knight, which, thanks to my glorious pawn chain, is not a threat at all. He just basically gave me a piece. I happily took it. And then he takes with the rook. The advantage of the rook is there's the escape for the king. And you say, well, yeah, way to go, you idiot. You let the king go. I did, but I have this. I also have this. This is the weak pawn, remember? So I can target that pawn, and you say, well, he's covered by the bishop. It's okay. It's all good. Let's see what happens. I, of course, go check. He, of course, moved out of check. Now I'm going to try to close him off here because I want to go here, right? So that'll leave him one square right there. And he does ahead of time move. And it was here that I realized, you know, this particular setup with the way his pawns are scattered, locked, but this pawn here is now accessible to me here just shortly. And I can do continual checks to the king. So scorched earth policy, like like Igor Smirnov, the grandmaster, fun YouTuber to watch. He said, you know, if you can take material, do it. So kablam, check. The king is limited to where he can go. If he does come up to here, he can't continue. So for the moment, if he goes here, it's only a temporary reprieve. I've got him below this. He won't go past that line because of my pawn chain and because of his pawn chain. He's locked in. Doggone it, I hate it when that does that. He's locked in. So I will check. He dodged. Bring the knight in. Check. He can't go down. He's got to go back. He goes back. Now I've got a beautiful discovery check. Check. Notice here also I've got a passed pawn. I can get a second queen whenever I start moving the queen into this. Hanging rook, almost hanging pawn. It will be here shortly. Let me check. Sacrifice the knight. Let the knight go so I can go check. I'm trying to keep doing forcing moves. Now I'm ahead in material. Keep doing forcing moves. Check. That pawn has worked beautifully for me. And now it's probably time to cash in that pawn. I could come and sacrifice the rook, but there's no real reason to yet. So push the pawn. Let's get another queen. The bishop's going to try like crazy to block stuff off to give the king an escape, right? And get the queen check. Notice what's behind the king. More material. King dodges. Take the rook. There's nothing he can do, even though I gave him a free move, except try to gain more space. Notice the difference. I had the greater space. It allowed me to maneuver and manipulate and get my pieces into better positions, my pieces and pawns. He's kind of crunched and can't maneuver as well as you would hope you could. Queen's on the same file, and now we can do some real damage. Giving himself more space. Check. Forward. And here is one of my fun plays. This fianchettoed bishop has done nothing the entire game. If I sacrifice him, it allows me to use these pawns to help checkmate that king. That was my thinking. Check. He takes the bishop. That gave me that bishop. Check. Again, with check. I'm always taking something with check. The queen comes down, of course. Check. The king moves away, of course. Check. The king takes the pawn. And look what I've got down here. There's no way he's getting out of this one alive. Check. I may as well use both my queens, right? Finally to here. is the check, and the e5 to block the check. I've got my rook covering. So there's the checkmate. Reduced his army down to 2 mere pawns by breaking through the king's side and just taking absolutely everything he had, no matter what. Fun way to win. So that's one of my training games. I didn't play it super duper spectacular fancy with a lot of tactics. It was more or less just basically once I got the pawn chain established. Once I got that pawn chain established, just go, man, go right at the king, right? Take all your pieces right at the king. He played a bit passively, in fact, way too passively on the queen side, and that's where all of his pieces ended up, crammed together like sardines in a sardine can. His pawn chain, I think, hindered him rather than helped him. He should have tried to make a break and open it up. He actually did on the front end, and it actually ended up helping me. So the lesson for this King's Indian is when you can, I wanted to show you another move that is actually kind of important. It's close to here. Let me see if I can get to here. Yeah, he didn't trade bishops. Yeah, so that's where I really permanently established the pawn chain. Oh, and then he closed. Yeah, I don't think that helped him at all. He would have been better taking the pawn. And then I take the pawn. And then that's a single pawn. And this has options to go. Options to go. With a target, right? So, and he had plenty of material to target the pawn. He had a queen to back up his pawns as they advanced. So he didn't get his queen side going nearly as fast. And once again, that is basically what happens if your opponent if you can make enough forcing moves to make your opponent respond to you, then that's ideal. I've got this at this point, and he's trying hard here to get some momentum on the queen side, and I stopped him. But yeah, the knight goes backwards to hit the bishop. But at this point, he is reacting to where I am, right? I'm on this side. The queen's going to be coming in here. Instead of that, as far as that goes, he's backed up by both the bishop and the knight and the queen. He should have tried to slaughter this stuff here and come into the queen side. Because he didn't, I was able to, and then I did get that e5 in. That's an important move in the King's Indian. I got the e5 in, and he did not. He's still interested in trying to get rid of the bishop. He's still worried about my position. And that gave me a chance to bump the pawn and produce the pawn chain. So the important takeaway is, oh, and then this was the other one. I was tweaking him about his rook. That's the problem with closing off his position, because he doesn't have a chance to advance the f-pawn anymore. So it kind of makes that whole file business with the rook useless. In fact, he doesn't have any open files at all, anywhere to operate his rooks. And that's why his rooks did not get into the game. And that was another thing I wanted to kind of show you, to say, hey, look, you have to push pawns. You have to make pawn breaks. Open up some files. The queen should have moved back and then thrown this guy just down as far as you can go to start opening up files. Because if you open up this file, now you've got a rook, right? And look at this. There's a backward pawn. There's a target. Instead, he played too passive. When your opponent does play passive like that, the reason I made this rook move is because my opponent was playing passive. This gave me a chance. Center is locked. This gave me a chance to rearrange my pieces. There goes the knight. There goes the bishop. There goes the pawn. Here comes this rook here. His knight's going to, he swapped the bishop. Now I'm going forward. Here comes the queen. So everything was, because I played a bit more actively and I established this pawn chain, and he did not want to seem to attack it, which he absolutely should have. That would have been a very important story to stop my attack. So anyway, now I'm repeating myself. I don't mean to, but that was a fun little training game to kind of help me see the effect, one, of active piece play. And then once you start attacking, you never stop. You have to go all the way through with it. There's a move, Okay, there's a forcing move. One. That's a setup for more forcing moves. You have to get your piece closer to the king in order to attack the king. I'm covering two very important squares with that knight move. 2, there's the second forcing move. 3, there's the third forcing move. 4, now that's a discovered check, right, from the queen. There's the fourth forcing move. There's the 5th, the 6th. That's a setup to continue making forcing moves. 7th. That's a, now I'm just getting greedy. Silman says get greedy and take it all. Yes, sir. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. From all angles. Pawns, queens, bishops. Everything checks. 12, 13, 14, 15. All forcing moves. So that was the key. Once you start attacking, you don't stop. You absolutely go to town. So anyway, that is pretty much my video that I wanted to share with you, to show you a couple of ideas on if we'll just, the trick is for me is to, it gives me a psychological edge to keep practicing in a steady manner. Now my day is not over, but I dropped back down to level 3 for a little bit because level 4 is just kicking my Watusi. So I'm playing a little bit on level 3 just to sharpen my idea for tactics. I'm trying to keep the strategies alive in my head, activate my pieces more, make sure you use your rooks better, don't leave any piece unused, use your whole army, etc. That constantly has to be regurgitated in your minds, right? If we're going to improve our chess, that's what I was doing in this game. And then Bonze is good with this, with teaching this. So is Igor Smirnov. And Danyo Naroditsky is also good. Every move that you make, if at all possible, make it a forcing move. You make sure that your opponent has to react to you. And that was one of the foremost things in my mind during this game is that, okay, I'm going to play this game the way I'm going to put my pieces where I want my pieces to go. And that means he's going to have to react to me. And so that's called the initiative. I do my thing. I am able to accomplish doing my game, not letting him play his, which meant ignoring some of his moves and just go on with mine into an attack mode. So those are some of the key ideas in that game that I really enjoyed sharing with you. Thank you for watching my chess videos. I did this one electronically because I do have some studying to do tonight. I'm going to go study my chess openings. They're important. Don't get overwhelmingly caught up in all of the various bizarre, weird lines. I'm just going to keep it basic. Just learn 1 or 2 or 3 main lines and then just keep practicing those openings over and over and over and over again relentlessly. That is seriously the key to helping us get through the opening into the middle game. So thanks for watching my videos. I saw a really cool bumper sticker today, and I'm going to share it with you because this is my hope for all of you, my audience. I hope something good happens to you today. Now, that's a bumper sticker I can get behind. That is a good bumper sticker. That's what I'm wishing for you, my audience. Thank you for all your support. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. There's a little bell up in the top right hand of your screen. I do believe it looks like a small Liberty Bell. Click on that. That's the notification button. When you click on that, when a new recording shows up or a new live session, it'll announce it to you. You'll see it on, it'll turn on your computer. So, all right, you guys, I got to go. Happy studying. I will catch up to you very soon.